Folks, it's about that time again. Yes, today we are going to look at another one of our favorite internet grandma's attempts at making a recipe. Yes, today, once again, we're going to be talking about Kay's cooking. And this video that we're talking about is one that's very, very popular. I'm kind of surprised we haven't talked about it yet, but I've been trying to veer away from the more talked about stuff first and present you guys with something unique. But this is so absurd that I couldn't help but lean into the popularity of it and talk about it. There's not a lot of introduction needed. If you're familiar with Kay, this might be one of the first videos of hers that you've ever seen, and it is, of course, her spaghetti bolognese, or rather, another spaghetti bolognese, because this is different than the first recipe she made. The first one she made was a standard Kay affair, but this one, well, you'll see. So there's no need for any more preface than that. Let's just get right into it. Before we begin, as always, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to reach 5,000 subs as our next goal, and we're seeing how quick we can reach that next milestone. Thanks for all your support.
Hi people, and I'm back cooking again, and today I'm going to be doing a different form of spaghetti bolognese.
Right off the bat, don't ask me what that creaking, croaking sound is. It sounds like there's a frog in the background ambience of her video for almost, not the entire thing, primarily when she's doing the front-facing camera and recording herself in lead. But no, I don't know what it is. Knowing Kay, there might just be a frog in her kitchen.
Right, as you can see, I've got a few things that I'm going to do. Like I said, it's a different one.
Never mind, I take that back. It's been a while since I've seen this video. Sounds like it's present throughout the whole thing, so yeah, let's try and drown that out as much as possible.
I'm going to beat some eggs up. Mix up. It needs a bit. I'm going to put this egg in the mincemeat. And I'm going to mix the mincemeat around.
So Kay employs her normal technique at this point of putting egg into ground mincemeat. Sorry, not ground beef. Putting egg into mincemeat in order to use it as a binding agent. You know, to make meatballs or hold the meat together while it's being formed. It's a fairly common practice, but usually you end up putting more than just egg in it. And we've discussed this before with Kay. When you're just putting a crap ton of egg in there, you're just going to end up with scrambled eggs in your beef. 9 times out of 10, when she does it, it doesn't even hold it together very well. I remember back in the meatball video, those meatballs were falling apart by the time she took them out of the oven because there's just not enough binding agent there to fully hold it together.
I've got, I don't know if you can see in this dish, I've got some spaghetti sticks, or spaghetti, whatever you want to call it. Oh, God, I could have hold it now. Wonder I had a thumb left. And what I'm going to do is, I don't even know how to do this. I've seen it on video, but I don't even know how to do it.
So Kay says that she saw somebody do this on video. And a lot of the recipes of hers that we've talked about before, I have no idea where the hell she's getting these recipe ideas for, but for this one in particular, I think I found the video that she's using as reference material. I've never seen anybody that's talked about this video discuss the actual video she's basing the recipe off of before, so I just want to show it to you guys real quick. It's from a channel called Scrumdiddlyumptious, and it has 1.75 million subscribers, and the video itself has over 7 million views. So how, as far as I know, nobody's ever pointed this out, that this may be Kay's reference material, is beyond me. It's not like it's an obscure video with that many views, but now that we know the reference material, I want to, at the end of Kay's video, look at her final product versus the final product in the original video and see if they're at all comparable. Spoilers. Do I even have to say?
Grab the sticks, grab the soggy mincemeat and put it round the sticks.
I'm going off the assumption that this video is indeed what Kay got the idea for the recipe and is basing it off of. In the video, they're not just using ground beef and eggs. Of course, they're putting oregano and thyme and a whole bunch of seasoning into the beef first. In fact, they don't even use a binding agent. They just use ground beef that's ground up enough to shape perfectly on its own. And I think that's what Kay's biggest issue with a lot of these meatball and meat recipes is when she's her mincemeat that she's using. I don't know if it's 100% different from what we in the States would call ground beef. It looks very familiar, but it could technically be something different. Either way, it's not ground fine enough to be moldable. You can still see the individual strands of it, which is a little bit nauseating to look at. Either that or she's just not compressing it hard enough.
Give it another good mix. I think I'm going to put 2 eggs in. Like that. Put it in. Put mincemeat round it.
And you can see as she's putting it into the pan that the meat is already falling apart. The way Kay handles mincemeat and ground beef, molding it together, is similar to the way that you'd handle a wounded wild animal. I don't know how else to explain it, but that just makes sense to me, where she's delicate and careful with it, but at the same time, she's very manhandly about it. It's a weird mixture of delicate and brute force.
What I'll do is I'm going to try and get another 3 in, and then I'm going to show you the rest of it. Right, as you can see, this is exactly how it is. I don't think I'm supposed to have put the egg in the mincemeat, but I only got to see it when it was like this.
What do you mean you only got to see it when it was like that? Did you just skip the first 30 seconds of the video? So the next step in the actual recipe is to actually start browning the ground beef, go ahead and cook it, and then you put in a bunch of veggies, onions, bell peppers. I think there was garlic in there at some point. And then after the veggies are added, you add in red wine and let that reduce. So that way, it's still cooking the veggies a little bit and the steam is also absorbing partially into the spaghetti pasta. And then after the wine is reduced, then you add the tomato sauce.
So what I'm going to do is pour some tomato on as he did it. I don't want to use it all because I need to save some. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the oven for about 20 minutes, because then when they come out, then I've got to put the onion in.
Okay, hon, I feel like somebody took the original recipe and made a YouTube poop edit of it and then showed it to Kay. If you watched a video on it, I don't know how you'd get these steps out of order unless you watched it once and are going from memory, which I very much believe Kay could be doing. Also, can we talk about that doesn't even look like tomato sauce? That looks like ketchup. I couldn't get a good read on the label. Maybe it's like tomato soup or something like that. But if that's what tomato sauce looks like in the UK, like pre-packaged tomato sauce, I'm so sorry. What's fascinating as well is Kay says she's putting it in the oven for 20 minutes. The total cook time on the recipe calls it for it to be baked in the oven for 30 minutes. So that means she's going to take it out 2/3 of the way through the cook time and then add the veggies, which at this point should already be well cooked and are just absorbing and marinating in the pasta sauce.
And now, as you can see, I've peeled and top and tail the onions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them very thinly. Well, not too thin, you need to taste them. I know what you're going to all say. You're going to say, now why is she using that knife when she's got a sharp one? Well, I've just nearly took my hand off by trying to get through the onion.
Yes, I've already talked about it several times. But can somebody please teach her proper knife safety for my own mental well-being?
So, well, that's the onion, part of the onion sliced. And when the oven's had 20 minutes, or should I say the spaghetti sticks, or whatever you call them, has had 20 minutes, I'm going to sprinkle the onion. Going to sprinkle the onion on, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing.
So yeah, as is tradition, that's as fine as Kay's going to cut her onions. She's not going to dice them up into, relatively normal pieces that would go into pasta or pasta sauce that you're making. Nah, she's just gonna put whole ass apple slices of onion into the sauce, as per usual.
You probably can't see, but this is how it's said to do it. Sprinkle them all over. Where did that go? There.
The closest approximation of the image on my screen right now would be one of those very up close, realistic gross out images that you'd see in an episode of SpongeBob, like the Nasty Patty. That's the closest equivalent I can find to the food I am looking at currently. The ends of her spaghetti are burnt. The middle of her spaghetti is starting to burn. The pasta sauce is starting to solidify, and the ground beef, of course, is still falling apart. Now, you may be wondering, why does the pasta sauce look like that? I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess Kay has her oven temperature too high, and it's wicking out the moisture in the sauce too fast, and so the sauce is starting to reduce. And of course, the spaghetti is burning because Kay didn't put nearly enough sauce in there. The amount of sauce that you're supposed to put in there is enough to cover the spaghetti, and as it bakes in the oven, the sauce starts to boil a little bit and thus cooks the pasta. But of course, since most of the spaghetti is left uncovered by sauce, it's just exposed to the raw temperature of the oven and starts crisping up and burning.
They said any spices of your choice. So I'm doing, that's a lot. That's a lot of bloody parsley. But anyway, it don't matter.
At the very least, Kay is putting some seasoning in it. It would be preferable if it was mixed in with the mincemeat or the sauce, but this is better than nothing, and it is comparable to, putting oregano on top of a chicken parm once it's done.
And then it said, put the rest of the stuff over the onions, whichever you want me to say. I need a tin of tomatoes for this, like. Yes, I'm going to open a tin of tomatoes as well because it needs to be all covered. Yes, I've got tomatoes. It needs to go all over. That's it. So that's tin of tomatoes. So that's going to go back in the oven for another half an hour to cook the onions.
Another half an hour, Kay? That's almost twice the amount of time the original recipe calls for. The spaghetti and the meat are already done. Yeah, the spaghetti's not actually proper pasta, but it's already at the end of its life cycle with how burnt it is. You cook it anymore, you're going to be making charcoal.
And but it should be okay. And that is the different SpagBol.
Have you ever seen nature footage, really close-up footage of fresh magma rolling and boiling inside their pits, tumbling over itself as it bubbles up, going back into the warm soup and turning red hot again? Somebody took a still frame of a nature documentary and put it into Kay's video. There's no other explanation for what I am looking at right now.
And Lee's coming to do the taste test.
And once again, we have poor Lee as the subject of the taste test. Your spaghetti should not come in a chunk like that.
Right, so let's see what it tastes like. Not like it.
You know what I love more than anything else in this world? Crunchy spaghetti. Like, quite honestly, if this dish is done correctly, yeah, it still looks stupid, but at least I'm sure it would taste good. Comparing what Kay's looks like to the end result in the recipe video, one is an image that they would use in a psych test to determine whether you're a sociopath or not, and the other is just something you'd find on shitty TikTok recipes. Yeah, it looks stupid. I'd rather just make spaghetti and meatballs, but I will take the official recipe any day of the week. But I hate myself and am curious just enough inside to say I'd try Kay's just to have the experience of ingesting it. I know there's no way, shape, or form it's going to taste good at all, but I have to at least try it. I want to try it in some fucked up, sick way. Just looking at it, this is something where I go, it's horrendous, but I need to know what it tastes like.
I see a lot softer into it, yeah.
It's a little bit hard, but yeah. That's not that bad then. It's happy, it's medium.
Onion should be crunchy. Is it crunchy? Good.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be my new vocal stem for the rest of the week. Is it crunchy?
Right, like Lee said, crunchy in places. Obviously, a lot of it got done. I did it exactly as it was put, but I think I put too much juice in it, but it don't really matter.
If the recipe we found, again, is the correct one, or very similar to it, you didn't do it how you were instructed. So please do not blame the original. But of course, as always, Kay is just doing what she enjoys and trying new recipes, so we can't stay that mad at her. And that is going to do it for this video, folks. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any other particular Kay videos or any other cooking channel videos, funny videos, TV shows, movies, anything weird or interesting that you want me to take a look at. A shout out to all my Patreon supporters for the $3 and $5 tiers, and a special shout out to patron Jill Palmer for suggesting this video in particular in this month's Patreon video poll. If you want to suggest videos like this, then you can sign up for the Patreon with the link in the description down below. As always, thanks y'all for supporting and sticking around, and I hope to see y'all in the next one. See ya!